What's up, Gabe?
Hey there, Ian. How's it going?
It's another Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for Blank as a Fart. Welcome, everybody. We're at Season 2, Episode 5, moving right along. We got a lot of ground to cover on this one, I feel.
The Orchid's curse.
The Orchid's curse. A lot of stuff happening on this one.
Yes, indeed.
Action-packed, I think I referred to it as in our social media adverts.
Way better than last week's episode.
I thought so, too. I thought this one was far more entertaining.
A little bit of comedy, but not just constant comedy. Like last week's episode was just, I was beaten over the head by bad comedy.
And from the leagues, too. It's typically you want that comedy to be reserved for your comedy relief characters, which is mostly where it sticks to this time.
100%.
Except for maybe Cooper's reactions to strange drinks.
I mean, there's comedy in the bad acting, which is not what, that is what it is.
The unintentional comedy.
Right, the unintentional. But actual comedy, we'll get to it. But, I actually found some of it funny this week, Gabe.
Like the scripted comedy, maybe?
Yeah, I actually found some of the scripted...
30-year-old scripted comedy.
I actually found it that's actually pretty funny.
Wonders will never cease. I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Okay. Well, let's get to it.
So, yeah, let's get in there. We start off this week with Cooper waking up for the day. First thing he does, naturally, is grab the tape recorder and start chatting with Diane.
Actually, I thought to myself, it's been a couple episodes since he actually talked to her. I feel like.
Has it?
He didn't talk to her at all last week, for sure. And I don't remember if the episode before that, if he talked to her or not. But I feel like it's been a hot minute since he's reached for the tape recorder.
It does just kind of feel ubiquitous at some point. It's hard to sort which episodes it happens in and which it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one in particular, it does. He tells her about dreaming of a tasteless gumdrop and waking up to chewing on one of his earplugs. Scripted comedy.
Didn't find that funny.
Your head.
But what I did find funny, and obviously this is not any connection. This has nothing to do with anything. But I just thought he's rocking the Something About Mary. Yeah,
that's the second time we've seen that out of him. Waking up with the flattened bangs on the side of his head. He also starts the day with some yoga to try and ease his aching ribs. Well, in the midst of a headstand, he gets a peek under his bed and finally spots that note that Audrey left for him the night he was shot. It reads, "I have gone north. Jack may have the answer." Pretty obvious where she was headed. Think Cooper's figured it out.
Okay, hold on a second here.
Mm-hmm.
Is doing upside down push-ups yoga?
He was just doing the headstand, and he referred to it as yogic practice.
Okay. Now, that's fine. Whatever. That's not my comment here. I was just asking you, since I know you do yoga.
I do.
Upside down to reveal the letter. He never does this, generally, yet the show is acting like this is a routine he does every morning. So, wouldn't you have seen this already? I'm finding this very we need to figure out a way for him to find the letter. Well, it's just he does this every morning. Does he do this every morning? I don't think he does, but he does it now. Clearly, we're never going to see him do this ever again. We're never going to see him do this ever again. I'm just couldn't they come up with something like he tripped on his laces or something more
make him look like a buffoon instead?
Sure.
He
looks like a buffoon anyway.
Maybe it was something he did every day until he got shot, and this is the first time he's trying it after his shattered ribs.
A quarter way through the second season. 10-4. 10-4, good buddy.
Remember, he's only been in 12 Peaks for 12 days.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
Anyway, Hawk arrives at the sheriff's station, badly needing to take a leak.
Donuts!
And letting... Donuts, yep. First appearance of donuts. That looked like a much more varied plate, didn't it?
It was like a platter of a lot of donuts. Yes.
Maybe that's because Lucy is off for the day and someone else was in charge of ordering them. But anyway, Hawk lets Harry know that nobody named Robertson ever owned the White House that Leland claims to have seen Bob in. Lucy's saying her goodbyes as she leaves for a brief vacation to visit with her sister and brother-in-law in Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Worried that the temp hasn't arrived yet, she needs a little reassurance that they'll be just fine without her as the sheriff guides her out the door. Right at the same moment that Cooper arrives and lets Harry know that he knows where Audrey is. Meanwhile, at the Johnson household, Bobby and Shelley are making arrangements for installing all of the necessary devices for poor comatose Leo, with the help of a rather curious salesman. Special guest star David Lander.
Don't care. My comment
There.
is, oh, Shelley's hair is, what, is that her natural color? It's definitely a different color where she doesn't rocking the blonde with roots. It's like this dark color. So
I didn't notice the hair color specifically, but I did notice Shelley was looking pretty good in that
She's
scene.
also looking incredibly sophisticated, and then she whips out a cigarette and smoking. So I don't understand what's going on with the show.
That was still sophisticated in the 90s.
All right, fine. What I'm saying is it's very bizarre, and we're going to see this throughout this episode, that these young girls are like very refined women and sophisticated, and they are engaged in some way or another with these buffoon men, these idiotic men. And I just, I mean, technically it's not really Lynch anymore here, but it is Lynch in a sense. So we're going to blame Lynch and Frost. What are they saying about women? That smart, educated, sophisticated women, like idiots, like fucking dumbass motherfuckers? It's so bizarre to me.
I mean, it's just kind of an inverse power play.
It's awful.
I mean, aren't there like super smart men that prefer the dumb women around?
Well, there are some dumb women, but the dumb women in this show are not the young ones. They're the older dumb one. They haven't learned anything. So I call the older ones dumb because they haven't learned their lessons. But these young ones are really trying hard to be sophisticated. I mean, like Shelley. I mean, I like Shelley, but like Shelley's looking hot here, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, during filming, she's not a lot older than the age of her character. I think she might have been, like watching the episode, I believe she said she was 7, or watching the Slice of Lynch documentary, pretty sure she said she was 17 when she was cast as Shelley.
Right. I mean,
she had initially read for Donna.
I mean, they're all the same. Like, I imagine all these girls are about the same age. They could all have played teenager or not teenager. That Shelley was just somehow, she had already graduated or dropped out or whatever she did. But man, the hair color change and the kind of tight dress and smoking, and she's just it's a very classic.
It's a different look for her, yeah,
a little bit.
And like we understand later that she has a reason for dressing up.
Well, yeah, I know, but yes, that's coming up.
It does take you by surprise in her first appearance this week.
And then Bobby's just like comic relief and doofy dumbass. You just don't believe that they're together. Like, what do you see in this fucktard? It's like it's like you could find some rich dude and be living in Seattle and not have any care in the world right now. Like, it's like Bobby is such a dumb.
Yeah, but he's nice to her.
Is he?
Which is something that she's not used to.
I guess maybe he's nice to her. I don't know. He's manipulating her. I don't know if he's nice to her.
At this point, yeah, I don't know if he's manipulating her as much as he is just like. Well, okay.
I think he's definitely manipulating her. He's trying to
say that.
Yeah, anyway.
But I think he believes that he's acting in both of their best interests. Remember, he's expecting this to be a big payoff for both of them. They'll be living on Easy Street on the dime of Leo's insurance company.
Shelley, if I was your friend, I would have said, "Hey, fuck this. Let's go to Seattle. Let's go become an actress or a porn star.
Needs to talk to
Let's
Norma
just get the fuck out of here. Let's not stay in this fucked up town." So who's the guest star? I've never seen him in anything before. Is he a
You
big
don't
deal?
remember David Lander? David
No,
Lander
I
is
don't know him.
probably most famous for his portrayal of Squiggy in Laverne and Shirley.
Mm-mm.
Oh wow, okay.
I didn't watch
Hardcore
that show, Grandpa.
grandpa. I'm what, 2 years older than you?
I don't know even if you are that much. How old are you?
Oh no, I'm younger than
I
you
think you're
because you're
younger than me.
77, right?
Yeah, I think you're younger than me.
Shit.
I just age
There
well.
you go, I guess. Also, I don't know, maybe your parents didn't have a sense of humor?
Oh, I never watched Laverne and Shirley. What? Why
I
would?
didn't watch a lot of it.
Oh, you did watch some of it though.
Well, when I was a kid, apparently.
Apparently.
I don't have many memories of it, but my mom tells me
Oh,
I used
okay.
to sing along with the theme
Okay,
song
so
while I was a toddler.
I will forgive that, but I wouldn't have. I mean, I wouldn't have remembered him on that show.
You might recognize him. Well, you might recognize his voice. He was the head weasel in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, sure. I don't remember. I mean, I'm gonna. I remember that cartoon. I remember the head weasel. I don't know if I would reckon because
Yeah,
he was doing a voice, so I don't know if I actually would
it was
recognize.
it was pretty much
Pretty was
his
it?
regular voice.
See,
If you watch this episode and then go back and watch those scenes, you will instantly be like, "Oh, it's him."
okay,
His voice is pretty distinctive,
gotcha.
so he didn't need to change it much. But yeah,
Cool.
there was Laverne and Shirley, and then there was Lenny and Squiggy, which was David Lander and Michael McKean.
Okay.
That was where he got his start.
I figured he was someone important because he's in such a fucking unflattering kind of funny comic thing that he was probably somebody that. But I didn't know. I didn't recognize him or.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to check real quick and see. I don't know if he's passed at this point.
Mm,
I believe he was diagnosed with MS later in his life.
that's rough.
I forgot his character's name was Pinkle. He did pass in December of 2020, unfortunately.
Mm.
Age 73.
Rest in peace.
David Lander, thanks for the
Or
laughs.
rest in peaks.
Austin Peaks. Oh, oh no,
Yeah, that's
no more
that's
puns
all
to
I know.
mute
That's all
my.
I know him from. So this is where your memory is going to die with
This
me
is where,
in Twin
yeah,
Peaks. Rest in peaks.
yeah, because it's not like you're going to start up on Laverne and Shirley
Yeah,
anytime
no,
soon.
right?
We're okay. Yeah, Shelley is obviously having her doubts after the salesman's less than impressive demonstration of the equipment. But it doesn't take much from convincing from Bobby before she seems satisfied that everything's going to work out.
Convincing. He was just trying to get like kiss her and fuck her. He's basically giving her
Yeah,
fuck me eyes. Like, oh baby, it's all right. Let me like massage you into like.
he's a mimbo.
Let me mansplain this into your brain with my cock.
Yeah,
Ugh.
pretty much. It's working for him though,
How
and
do
he's
women survive in a lynch world? I don't know, man. I feel like
some of
anyway.
them do all right for
Is it
themselves.
sexist? Maybe.
It's certainly an outdated motif. Anyway, now we're off to the Roadhouse, which has become the courthouse, as this is where they've set up makeshift hearings
Is there
for
a
Leland and Leo.
was there a reason why they had to do it this way, or is this just how they do it? This is okay. I missed this. Is there a reason that?
Uh, I guess the implication is Twin Peaks itself is too small to have a courthouse. But I don't know why they're bringing the court to the suspects as opposed to taking the suspects to the district court. That seems like a budget saving maneuver to
Right.
me.
I wrote fucking lazy. Uh, like, oh, this is a Lynch idea, right? It may not be Lynch's idea, but it seems Lynchian, right?
Well, and then, yeah, I don't know, because they had the community center where they had the big town meeting
Oh,
when
right.
Cooper first showed up.
Or
Kind
what's
of
his
figures that
name?
that would be.
What about fucking what is Nadine's husband?
Ed.
Ed. No, not Ed. Hair.
Husband.
Ed is not Nadine. I'm sorry. The guy with the domino. Why am I forgetting his name right now?
Oh, Hank.
Hank. Too many
Norma's
H's.
husband.
Norma's husband. Norma, Nadine,
Jens.
Hank. Anyway, No, when they did his like court case, they were in a room.
Oh yeah, but he was actually in prison
But it
already.
doesn't matter. It's still a courtroom ish.
I would assume that he was in prison in the city somewhere,
If he
or
was
in a more urban
no,
area.
if he was in the prison in the city, it would not been a fucking trailer room. Come on, Gabe. Have you been to the courthouse in Oregon City or anywhere? Even in
Just
Vancouver,
the
it's
federal
tiny.
one.
It's not.
The courtroom itself was a lot smaller than I pictured it. I won't lie to you there.
It's just fucking. It's wild to me. And then
But the only
fucking
courtroom I visited in Oregon was like on the eighth floor of some
yeah,
building downtown
exactly,
with this huge glass balcony.
exactly,
And I mean, the ceilings were incredibly high.
exactly. I'm just saying, like
Anyway, the
this
point
is
is, yeah,
lazy. Is
having court
lazy
in the Roadhouse does seem strange.
and
It
conflicting.
seems like isolated Alaska town kind of stuff,
And the
but
fucking brother's
and
horn. Only one brother is back there eating
just one.
peanuts. It's just like,
Yeah, he seems kind of disrespectful of the whole thing, doesn't he?
did
I
they
mean, it's
even
in a
serve?
bar.
Did they even serve those peanuts? Or are you just picking them off the floor? At least it's food, right?
Yeah.
Keeps up with the
I get
motif.
the feeling there's one of those they're one of those places that had the big barrel of peanuts right by the door there. You could just grab handfuls from all the time.
Well, I've never been. Here's a real life interjection. Like I've never been. Like I had never been to a proper Roadhouse bar like that. And there's
Hmm.
Billigan's up here in Vancouver that is a Roadhouse bar, and you walk in and they have peanut shells all over the floor.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like that, and it's just like,
yeah, it's real.
oh, this is a real thing, and it's just like, I never want to come here ever again.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely visited a few of those joints growing up in Colorado.
It's like this is gross. I
It
don't want
was
to.
familiar to me. Although, I mean, I'm not sure that the high school kids were heading in there for beers every night,
But
like they seem to be in Twin Peaks.
here's the other thing. It's like that doesn't seem like a Pacific Northwest thing, really. The Roadhouse
It
bar,
just
right?
it feels like a small town thing to me.
Yes, I
Like a
guess.
small town thing, like little town on the side of the highway. It's the equivalent of a truck stop, really.
Mm, truck stops are pretty nice. Anyway,
Not the ones I've been to.
it's really bizarre. This whole courtroom
It
thing, this
is
whole
it is an odd
idea.
set. And yeah,
It's
it does feel like just something they wrote
lazy.
in to save themselves the trip to a different set. But however it may be, this is where we're at.
It is.
Leland is up first, not pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, we assume. Lodwick seems to want to throw the book at Leland, implying that his episodes of instability present a danger to the public. But Sheriff Truman speaks up for Leland and vouches for him as a pillar of the community. Judge Sternwood decides to release Leland without bail on his own recognizance, expecting him to be fully cooperative in the legal process.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see any reason to disagree with the judge here.
Can I just be honest?
Although,
Can I just be honest?
what's that?
Let's be factual here. If
Yeah,
if one of our kids was murdered, and then you thought that the cops had the guy, and you thought that was the guy, it wouldn't be insanity. You would just be acting on like, sure, we're going with that. We're going with the fact that Leland is pleading insanity to protect himself. But honestly, he believed himself to be right. I don't think it's just the
there's a
show.
whole Grisham movie about this.
Right. It's just whatever. Anyway,
Yeah, the justification. It's yeah, the notion that legally grief can drive a person mad is it's a tough thing to reconcile.
and maybe it can.
But hey, they're giving the court a chance to suss it out.
If someone killed me and I didn't kill anybody, but they believed I killed somebody, I get it. I get it. It
It's
was,
not like Jacques was a good dude
but it
either
was
way.
Gabe
But
probably
yeah,
killed him, not me. But he does the drugs, not me.
the legal drugs,
Not back in the '90s. All right,
not in the '90s, no.
all right. Let's move
So
on.
yeah, back to the episode. During the proceedings, Andy displays a talent for courtroom sketching, even if it doesn't include the face. And a nonplussed Ben Horn is also in attendance, leaving immediately after the judge releases Leland. The thing that stuck out to me about Ben Horn was the wild ass tie that he was wearing. That was so like late 80s, early
You know what's
90s.
funny? I didn't
The
even.
big silver cubes and the turquoise stripes.
That's funny.
That was a pattern.
That didn't even poke out at me. It was just him eating
No?
peanuts that just really like hit me as what he was doing. He was
Yeah,
just
no, for
being
me it was
obnoxious
the
in general,
tie.
but
He was, yeah. He was just being a scummy douche.
he
He
didn't.
seems to
He
have
didn't
ramped
even
that
really
up.
need to be there. Really.
I don't know. It seems to have gotten melodramatic with him over the last couple of weeks. He's like almost become a caricature at this point. It doesn't really feel like he has the depth that he did in the early goings. He just feels like, he's there to be the resident scumbag.
Kind of a troll. He's just
Yeah,
trolling everybody.
yeah. But from there, we move on to another inappropriate lunch date with Harold.
Oh my god.
He's pounding down the rosé as he and Donna create a little Lecter Starling quid pro quo arrangement. She'll tell Harold stories about her life, and in exchange, he will read her segments of Laura's secret diary. Donna volunteers to go first, slyly observing as Harold removes the secret diary from its hiding place in a false shelf of a bookcase. She goes over a few pedestrian details of her early life before turning the tables on Harold and asking about his origin story. After a little manipulative flirting, Donna turns instantly shitty on Harold again, snatching the diary away from him and teasing that she should go read it outside, encouraging him to follow her. He valiantly makes the attempt, but is overcome by his disability and just mentally shuts down, with Donna immediately rushing to his side, begging forgiveness. I'm starting to remember why I really don't like Donna.
Okay, here we go. My comments. Shit, Donna. These young girls keep getting more and more sophisticated
And like we've already established that
as the
she's pretty
boys get
much just
dumber and dumber. But she's
yeah. I
looking
mean, like
fucking fine. Uh, and
yeah, hair,
then,
makeup, and costumes are on point this
but
week for the ladies.
also, it's like you keep going to these dudes, and he like meets her at the door with a glass of wine. Like he's just like ready to fucking, and it's just like you're just a fucking fly to this fucking spider, dude. Like what the fuck
And
is going?
again, why the fuck isn't she at school?
Right. Well, fuck school.
You know,
Why are not
right?
any of them at school?
Fuck
I
school
mean,
when I
none of
can
them are
drink
at school.
rosé with a shut-in.
This is not a school show,
No,
Gabe.
dude.
Come
And
on.
boy, does it get even deeper into that later.
Okay, so then she makes her play, and then she's trying to call Harold out. And this is my comment on this scene. Harold, what the fuck? Men will do anything to make women look dumb, especially white men. He's basically, I don't believe him for a second. He's committed to trying to get in her pants or manipulate her in any way. I think he's full of shit. I think it's just white man trying to like, and he's like, now, because like, I mean, obviously he gets it in the next time we see them. He gets it. He gets his way. He wins. He wins. He wins for all white men. He wins. It's like, oh yeah, if you can act weak and shitty, you will win. You will win these hot ladies over. These sophisticated ladies that you're. This is what David Lynch is trying to program into boys. Gabe, this is how you are programmed. That if you act
Simping.
shitty to women,
How? No, I don't understand how
that
Harold's acting shitty to her at this
he
point.
comes out of his door and falls to the ground and it's
He's
like that's fake.
got a
That's
mental
100%
condition.
fake. That's all 100% bullshit. 100% bullshit. Like what? Like I also like how when he stepped out, like they actually bumped the color balance. They bumped the color a little bit as if he was burning or something. And I'm just
And the
like
angle, yeah. I mean,
it's like so
I
stupid.
personally don't know anyone who has suffered from agoraphobia to a degree that crippling.
if this guy
Um,
is the guy they fucking put as Laura Palmer's killer, fuck me, dude. This is the off. I mean, I'm gonna guess this is probably the dude, but fuck me if this is the dude. This is like lazy choice. Anyway.
I mean, they're certainly making him look a lot more intimidating at this point. Well, not at this point.
Oh, and the next one
We'll
when he
get
goes,
to that.
ah! Anyway, yeah, we don't want to get into it, but
Yeah, we're
uh,
skipping ahead here. But yeah,
but
this is all. I just, I feel like, yeah, Donna has just, she's got no genuine interest in this guy. She's just manipulated him from day one to get her hands on the diary.
she's hot. Like
Uh,
Shelly and Donna are pretty hot in this episode so far. Man, just like
no disagreement here.
just want to like.
But the way Donna treats Harold is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I'm starting to remember just why I dislike Donna so much as a character.
Well, I
It's just the
get.
way she treats other people to get what she wants. And we still don't understand why she's so driven to solve this crime right now.
Fine,
Like,
but
especially after her
okay,
monologue at Laura's grave.
right, sure,
Like, why is she still fighting for Laura?
fine, okay, sure, whatever. But I feel like she's a. I feel like she's a colder bitch. Like her character should be a colder bitch,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not here in this situation. I would, as a character, you have it, he falls, run! Just fucking go.
Mission accomplished.
A mission accomplished. He'll make it back inside his fucking door and he'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
why
No,
is,
in fairness,
why is,
it's kinda weird.
oh, like she drops the thing and she crows to her knees and then what does he do right away in that sequence? He's not an invalid. He actually
grabs her hand.
grabs his, he takes his hands and he grabs the book.
Yeah, with one hand he grabs the book.
He
with
grabs
the
the
other hand
book.
he clutches
So
her.
it's like he doesn't really give a shit about any of this. He's just playing a game in my head. He's a fucking fake, a fraud. These girls,
That's certainly open to interpretation.
so the David Lynch and Frost write these sophisticated girls as smart and independent, but as soon as something stupid from a dude happens, they fucking drop their panties and like jump on the dick. It's like, fuck that shit. That is a fucking wrong thing that you need to be writing about people. If I was in that situation, a dude, a chick, a whatever, man, I'd be gone. I'm out. Let's go. We got it. Let's get the fuck out of here. Like, and I think that's the difference between this show back in the 90s when it was trying to create this like long idea and nowadays where everyone has to start writing more realistic. You can't be writing these long dumb fucking ideas that we'll just make him no, because that's not what would have happened. People are smarter and they're more connected, and I think that's why when I come at this show right now, I'm like, this would not fucking happen. It's just fucking goofy to me, It's just like silly. I can't really connect with it. So it's just a really hard like disconnect,
I can see that for sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm calling it outdated tropes it feels like giving it a pass.
So we shouldn't give it a pass. We should just
we shouldn't give it a pass.
Just be fucking hard on it.
And this is something this is a trope that I run into a lot in like old sci-fi novels as well. It's something you see a lot with Asimov or with Herbert, is that like a woman can be supremely mad at a man for the way he's treated her, but then as soon as he displays a little bit of helplessness, she's immediately all over him and, oh, forgive me for my anger. And yeah, it's unrealistic. It's a fantasy that should never have been perpetuated.
It's like a situation that you know that you would handle a certain way, but instead they handle it as a plot device to move in a different direction. It's like, well, that seems disingenuous, It just okay, whatever. All right.
Yeah.
We're watching this.
But
let's go, Gabe. Let's go.
Yeah. So we're back in court.
Did I say that I like this episode more than the last one? Let me just say, like all the shit I'm talking right now, I did enjoy.
We haven't gotten to the point where the fun stuff happens yet.
Well, it doesn't matter. I have issues with all of it.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Even if this was better than last week. Roadhouse Courthouse. Leo's competency hearing is up next. Despite the overwhelming medical evidence that Leo's brain scans displaying little to no activity,
Mm.
Lodwick is still tenaciously pursuing charges, given that Leo is implicated in a hell of a lot more crimes than just the arson. The guy does seem kind of heartless trying to lock up a vegetable, but he has a point. I mean, Leo is basically like a hub of crime in this town.
I mean, Leo was basically a vegetable before. The fact that now he's in a court being judged as one is like, sure, whatever. I mean, come on.
Well, and Lodwick's other point is that it's justice for the community as well.
Right.
Uh, that they need the trial for that aspect. I'm not sure if I agree necessarily, given Leo's current state. But it's not up to me. It's up to Judge Sternwood.
Indeed.
And he calls a recess to deliberate, inviting Harry and Cooper over to the bar for a drink and some counsel.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Yukon Sucker Punch, to be specific.
Had you
ever heard of this drink before?
No, but would you like the ingredients and directions?
Oh, I looked it up too.
Oh, I have it.
Well, there's variations.
Wow.
Now, do you have the recipe that was extrapolated based on the items on the bar in the shot?
No, I have the recipe that they actually use out in the. I guess I don't know. I don't know what version I have. I just have the version.
Okay,
that...
let's hear yours, and then I'll tell you the one.
Oh, okay. You have one. Okay. First of all, is this a racist drink? I don't know. Black Yukon Sucker Punch. Only because later
to a forested area.
Okay. Ingredients.
I could be wrong, but...
Serving for one drink. 2 ounces bourbon. 1 ounce sweet vermouth, coffee infused preferably. 1 teaspoon cream de cocoa, blue Curaçao whipped cream. Directions for this: add first 3 ingredients to a mixing glass. Add ice and stir until chilled. Strain into a Collins glass. Top gently with whipped cream. Pouring over black of a spoon held near the drink's surface to ensure that the cream lays over the drink instead of sinking.
Okay. Where the hell do they make blue Curaçao whipped cream? I'd like to know.
I don't know, but if you look at the drink, it's like a black cock, and then it has semen coming out of the top.
Blue semen, Smurf semen.
Well, it's white in the shot. It looks blue. White. It looks very white.
It looks blue in my shot.
Oh, it looks very white.
That's why you need a 4K TV, man.
No, I don't think it matters.
It's definitely blue in 4K. And so here's what the hardcore Twin Peaks nerds came up with for the recipe. And this is strictly based on what you can see in camera on the bar.
Okay.
So they're calling it 2 ounces of whiskey.
Bourbon,
apparently
okay.
Jack.
Sure.
Yeah, bourbon would be fine. 4 ounces of coffee.
Okay.
The blue foam is egg whites, Perrier, and blue Curaçao, blended and whipped, and then poured over the top in a foam.
I mean, it's not that much different. I mean, it's like
I'd say
blue Curaçao and whipped cream, and then sweet vermouth coffee infused. I wonder which one tastes better.
I mean, it sounds like your version definitely tastes better, but it also sounds like it would cost $10 more. And like the ingredients would have to be outsourced from the fucking Caymans or something.
Not really.
Coffee infused vermouth. Who the fuck sells coffee infused vermouth?
Probably a lot of places.
Okay.
Obviously, all the places, Gabe.
I mean, yours sounds like,
All right, fine.
The fancy one. The fancy.
You're right. The show sucks.
Version.
It's probably the cheap ass one that you guys are talking about, and it probably tastes like garbage. All right.
Hey, we're just talking about what we know they had at the bar. They're just working within realism here. They definitely did not have coffee infused vermouth at the
what's funny?
Roadhouse.
You know what's funny about that though is like they probably just like pulled like bottles from like just random places. Like, here, just put this shit up here. They should have put like.
I mean, it's not set up to look like a bar. Like, you don't see any vodka or anything else there.
There should be.
You got to imagine somebody's ordering.
So sure, if there's blue foam, maybe there should never have been any blue anything. Like, it should all have just been like, there's nothing in this bar that would have made blue anything, and it's just like, anyway, yeah, go for it. All right.
Yeah. I'd love to
I
hear
thought
the
that was
story
fun
behind
though.
it. It was interesting, yeah. But yeah, interesting conversation as well. Stern would seem surprised that Lodwick brought up Leo's potential involvement in Laura's murder. He asks Cooper for his take. Replies that he doesn't believe Leo was responsible.
Not responsible, but
Um,
he's a part of it. He's
well,
an accessory. Come on.
we know he was there that night, but we also know that the murder didn't happen in the cabin. The murder happened in the train car.
Still an accessory.
That's debatable.
Accessory.
But anyway, assured by Harry that there will be no kind of mob justice from the town in the absence of a conviction, the judge declares Leo not competent to stand trial. Harry tells Shelley the good news. Oddly enough, she doesn't seem all that thrilled.
Because she doesn't want it.
Yeah, she's not thrilled about a lot of stuff this week.
Yeah.
She should be thrilled about how she looks, though. She looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Ed is bringing Nadine home from the hospital with her memory still regressed by about 20 years. She doesn't recognize James, but quickly assumes that's just because they don't have any classes together. She also briefly
that was
panics.
Nadine?
Yeah.
I thought it was the Hulk.
Waka, waka, waka. Oh, just wait, dude. It gets better. She also briefly panics when she realizes her parents aren't there. Oh, out of town. Great read of that line. Great read. Yeah, not impressed with Ed's acting here on this particular scene, but hard to direct this one.
Gets called in for one scene, so
Yeah,
it's rough.
at least he made the episode this week.
Yeah, that's right.
According to Ed, Doc Hayward said it was okay to feed into Nadine's delusions for now. James suggests a visit with Jacoby, but apparently he is at his estate in Hawaii, recovering from his heart attack. Smart dude. Nadine continues to display superhuman strength, albeit off screen, as she tears the refrigerator door off its hinges.
Of course.
She's got enough adrenaline in her to kill an elephant, remember?
Clearly.
It's all adrenaline.
It doesn't go away. It just sits
adrenaline
in her cells.
Is magic. That's right.
It just sits in her, just constantly in her. It doesn't go away.
Science. At the Great Northern, Ben Horn arrives to an unexpected meeting as Mr. Tojomura, our cash-only customer from last week, rather brazenly presents an unsolicited offer for Ghostwood from a Japanese investment firm. Ben is dismissive until Tojomura presents him with a check for $5 million. Suddenly, he is all business.
Okay, so I have a... So before this scene starts, it shows an outside shot and a sign that says the Great Northern.
Mm-hmm. First time we ever see that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, my comment is, the sign is so garbage, and then the lot looks so shitty, and it's just the Great Northern looks like such a shitty place to stay. Why would anyone want to go?
We've never seen
Why would you?
This exterior shot of it,
It's
and
just
I don't
garbage.
know that we do again. Usually when we get an establishing exterior of the Great Northern, it's the Snoqualmie Falls.
Right.
So yeah, it seems weird that they would just go to this industrial looking parking lot instead.
Here's another thing I found interesting. When you look at it, it's sure kind of gray and dark and blah, but there's browns and there's a lot of moss. So you have the brown and green motif that is the logo of Twin Peaks, the Twin Peaks signage.
Yeah, the earth tones.
So you see the green on the roof, there's green moss, and it's, if you really look at it, at least on my TV, that's how it played out, and it just seems but it was just so shitty. It's no one would want to be here. It looks like you'd probably have to spend more at a Motel 6 than Great Northern. I don't know. It's just fucking funny to me. I was just that's looks shitty.
I mean, the interior still makes it look like a fun place to stay, though. I like the log cabin.
Oh yeah, no, it looks way more interesting on the inside. And then my other comment about this whole sequence with Nakamura, is it?
Tojomura.
Does this dude look like a fake Asian dude? He's got it looks like he has a fake mustache. I don't know. The Asian dude with him looks, I mean, obviously he's a real Asian dude, but the Asian dude that's playing Tokamura looks fucking fake. And I'm trying to He looked fake last time we saw him in the last episode when Horn was ogling all the beauty contestants, and then he
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
over and he saw this other guy, which was Tokamura, kind of standing there, and it's just like, this dude looks like a. I feel bad if he's not, but he looks like a fake Asian dude, and it's just like, I feel like the makeup is heavy on him, and the mustache is fake. It seems incredibly fake.
There are definitely things you notice in the HD era that you would not have noticed when the show originally aired in the 90s.
Hmm.
I think that's probably all I should say about it at this point.
Oh, he doesn't rip it off and say, "Oh, kids, I would have got away with it too if you hadn't noticed I was a fake Asian guy." Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know which episode the Mystery Machine shows
Woo,
up in.
woo, woo.
Scooby Snacks for all.
Yeah, Scooby Dooby Doo.
Now, I really did like this shot that they cut to in the hallway here,
Oh,
where
that
we
was
get
fun.
these
That was
three
fun.
rapid fire
Different,
arrivals.
like
Like
different.
there's
I
Hank.
mean, there's no real reason for it. Like Bobby goes. I mean, why
Yeah, I
does
mean, we never
Why
get
is
follow-up
Bobby
with
going in
Bobby.
there? Why is Bobby even there? But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, all we get really with Bobby's presence is we get the establishment again that he's kind of intimidated by Hank because he knows that Hank's the one that shot Leo.
Sure,
But
but
we
why
still
is he
have yet to
there?
see. Yeah, we never get a reason for Bobby's presence at the
I
Great
get why
Northern.
Hank's there because Hank shows up in the.
Right, Hank has a reason. Cooper has a reason. Uh, Bobby doesn't.
Yeah, it's just
So
so random.
that part's weird.
But you're
Maybe it's
right. It
just a
is a
deleted
cool
scene.
one shot. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and like Cooper's playing this like weird little instrument thing.
It's a duck call.
Sure. All right. Where did he get that? I'm sorry.
I thought for a second that he whittled it. Because remember, he had gotten into whittling in the early episodes.
Okay. See,
Um,
that's a reach because I didn't. I was
yeah,
like, what is
once
he
I realized,
doing?
yeah, it's definitely a duck call, but yeah, it's one of those things we don't really have an explanation for at
Yeah.
this point. Just
Okay.
one of Cooper's little quirks again, I guess.
All right.
But yeah, I love that shot. I thought it was clever. It made me smile. Hank is sneaking into the back door to Ben's office, but makes himself scarce quickly as Tojimura and his assistant are still wrapping up. Then Hank immediately has to make himself scarce again as Cooper arrives. I thought that was kind of a funny little scene as well. Like pops in to just say, Cooper's coming, and then Horn just shoves him right out again. That was some fun blocking. Renault calls with the instructions for the ransom drop, and Ben sends Cooper off with the directions and the cash, then produces a gigantic cigar as he sends Hank off with instructions to follow, make sure everything goes according to plan, and to bring back Audrey and, if possible, the money too. Not that he needs it with that $5 million check sitting in his drawer. 125K seems like small potatoes, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Donna walks Maddie through their plan to steal Laura's diary, complete with a crudely drawn map of Harold's place. I got a chuckle out of that one. That looked like something a 12-year-old would draw. Maddie's conscience is clearly giving her pause here, but Donna seems determined to move forward.
I have nothing to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, not again.
All seems
just-
straightforward for what was. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of these scenes are matter of fact. And something I noticed in this week's episode too is there feels like there's a lot more cuts between scenes.
More cuts,
espe-
but but the episode seems way more competently put together than last episode.
The pacing feels like it keeps things moving along. At one-eyed Jax, Blackie is fitting Jean with a wrist-mounted switchblade as he goes over their plan to collect the money and gut Cooper. Blackie exits the room as her sister Nancy arrives to canoodle with Jean. Apparently, they have plans for Blackie, too. Wheels within wheels. Good old Michael Parks.
Did you watch that clip of Michael Parks I sent you, or no?
Yeah, the Esteban Viejo scene. I watched it just before we started airing. It makes me want to go back and watch Kill Bill
But
again.
it's the funny thing, like his French Canadian is not very French Canadian. Like
Not
whatever,
really. It's
it's very similar to his South American kind of Cubano. Anyway,
yeah,
whatever. I
just
don't want to get it,
vaguely foreign.
but it's also creepily the same kind of character. Ultimately, like
A
like
little
this,
bit, yeah.
like no, but like if his character in Twin Peaks were to get older and take over a strip club and just kind of get the syphilis and all that kind of stuff, and just he'd just be more kind of, it just kind of seems like
Yeah,
the younger version versus what he would become. Anyway.
yeah, I can totally see that. Maybe they typecast him a little bit,
Oh,
Who
I'm sure.
knows?
I'm
But yeah,
sure
those.
Tarantino totally typecast him for that, dude, because he plays like what
Oh
two,
yeah,
three
yeah.
parts in that fucking film. Anyway, it's wild.
At least two that I'm aware of. But where are we at? Here we go. Doesn't look like that temp ever arrived at the sheriff's station, as Andy is running the phones in Lucy's stead with post-it notes galore, trying to help him keep track.
Mm-hmm.
He calls the laboratory to get the results of his latest test and is pleased to discover that he's a whole damn town.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
So
I
this
guess Harry's happy
sequence,
to hear it too.
so this sequence with Harry that comes in, and then
Just munching on a
Andy
donut.
talking, and then Truman goes into the office with Coop and says, "Don't ask." Like, I actually found that whole sequence. This is where I actually found this funny. Like, I haven't found any of the Lucy Andy shit funny, but I actually found this kind of funny. I actually found like Truman understood, walked away, and then walks into
Yeah,
Coop, and Coop goes, "What?" It's like, "Don't ask." And I
yeah.
actually chuckled. I was like, "Yeah, that's how I feel."
Just the world
That's
weary
I
kind of.
literally like. I was like, "That's funny," and then I like, okay, that's funny, but at the same time, it's like, man, can we wrap this up? Can we wrap this Lucy
Something
Andy shit up?
something I wanted to point out, and I believe it's this scene. We can see a reflection in the glass
Mm.
of somebody parked right there
I didn't even
and
look at
moving
that. I
around.
didn't even notice.
Um, yeah, if it had been a Lynch directed episode, I would have thought it was Lynch himself because he's known to sit
Right.
right by the camera during filming to observe. I don't know if it was the director, if it was a stagehand or a production crew member or something, but little foible that I noticed there.
But I did think also Andy in this particular scene it's the best he's been at comedy
Hmm.
in this sequence because he's kind of repeating. He's asking but repeating what the doctor is saying, and
Right. And I
the
don't know how much of that
receptionist
was
is
done
like
in
she's just
post.
kind of like blah 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 blah. It's kind of funny and it's kind of chuckly, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I just felt like it was really set up well. And then like it's the same shot when Truman walks in, so you don't really move. So it's like he walks he walks into it. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
and then and
And
I don't
it's,
know.
interesting that last week's episode was like the comedy veteran and you didn't think it was funny at all.
Uh-uh.
And then this week
I just thought this one
you get the realism in
was
it.
just way more. It was deployed better, was handled better. I don't know. There was less writers on this one. There were so many writers on the last episode. Whew.
Yeah, it was a bit of a community effort. Maybe that kind of interfered with
Maybe.
the flow of it. Makes sense. Harry moves on to his office where he and Cooper are going over their plans to free Audrey with a much more professionally drawn map here. Cooper's drawn a few maps in his day, it looks like.
This is okay. This is also another funny thing in this scene because isn't this the scene where Hawk walks in, gives him some information, and then Truman's like, "Okay, Hawk, we'll see you tomorrow." Like very like matter of fact about get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here,
get the fuck
basically.
out.
And it's
Yeah.
like Truman is never like that.
And Cooper doesn't, yeah, Cooper won't make eye contact with him.
It's very and
Yeah.
it's like why did that happen? And then it's like oh because the ending is but it's just kind of funny that that's like Why do you like that
Yeah,
to
but at the
him?
same time, I mean, yeah, it in trying to be surreptitious, they clearly tip their hand.
Right.
Because, Hawk obviously doesn't buy it,
Right,
but he doesn't say
exactly.
anything.
It's
He's like,
it's it's so kind of funny.
yeah.
Anyway,
So, yeah, in summary, Hawk arrives unexpectedly, and they've got to quickly cover up as he fills them in on the one armed man who seems to have gone missing from his motel room, leaving his weird smelling drugs behind.
I like how
What?
Hawk
How was
smells.
it
I
that
like
Hawk
how
described
Hawk
them?
smells the bag, and then he gives it to Truman, and then Truman opens the bag and smells it, and this is like,
Yeah.
what?
I mean, what was the adjective that he used to describe it? Like a weird
Oh,
earthy smell or something like that?
I don't remember. I
Yeah, I
mean, I
forget,
don't
but it was a
remember.
strange choice of words
It's
that he
stupid too
used to
because I just
describe.
watched it, but yeah, it was like fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's silly. It's a very silly scene, kind of.
And yeah, Hawk seems to recognize that something else is up as Harry dismisses him quickly for the night,
Right?
but he leaves without comment. As Coop and Harry head out on their secret mission, Andy tries to reach Lucy via one of the numbers that she left, only to find that it is for an abortion clinic. Uh-oh. What's to become of this?
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't care.
I don't. Abort.
Abort. Abort. Use your womanly rights while you still have them, Lucy. At the Double R, James is finishing up a late dinner when Maddie comes in to grab a cup of coffee for her stakeout. Maddie's also bad at hiding stuff. James seems to recognize pretty quickly that something is up, as Maddie is acting awfully twitchy even without the extra caffeine. He follows her as she leaves in a hurry.
James is another like. Maddie is moderately sophisticated, but James is again just a goofy, douchey dude. Like,
He's a little dopey, yeah.
you know what's funny about this?
Good-hearted, but dopey.
Like, you know what's funny about this too? If you watch this scene when she walks in, let's see, she walks in from. Let's say she walks in from this side. He's not like eating and focusing on his food. He's like, he's over here looking. He's like eating.
Like
She
looking
walks.
as far
Yeah,
opposite away from
she
her as
walks
possible.
in, and then you're like, "Oh, hey, Donna." And it's just like this, like unrealistic.
Well,
It's
if he'd
just
have
so
been looking at the plate, he would have seen her walk up.
it's so bizarre. It's just like
It does, yeah, it feels forced.
100%. It's just like
I won't
what?
disagree with you
What
there. Yeah,
weird?
there's some
What
clunky shit here.
what weird direction is this? And then he
Make
just
sure you're not looking at her.
he comes across so needy, and like I
I
don't know.
don't feel like he came across needy here.
He kind of comes across needy. He needs to
No, he
know.
just came across as curious and like,
He needs to know. You know what's funny too is that she leaves and then he leaves right away.
mm-hmm.
But clearly he doesn't follow her because he's not where we end up somewhere and he's not there. So it's like, where did he go? I don't know. I imagine he'll just magically arrive in the next episode to save them. But it's just dumb that he's not there. Like, fucking Maddie is at this situation for a while, drinking her coffee, and you're telling me James hasn't shown up yet? Like, he was anyway. Whatever. I'm thinking too much into this. I'm thinking continuity. I'm thinking timing. I'm thinking like real life, and we got to think like Days of Our Lives, Young and the Restless level shit here.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. But you've got a pretty astute read of how this is going to play out. Donna has returned to Harold's house to give him a real story. And boy, did
No.
she
Come on,
ever.
Gabe. She did not
What?
return to his house. Donna's been there. How?
Has she been there the whole time?
She has to have been there. Why would she
Really?
have? I don't understand where she would have left. She's still wearing the same clothes. The only thing that is different.
It's still the same day.
It's the same day, but he passed out, and he was like, she had to have nursed him back to health.
That didn't occur to me, to be honest. I
She had
thought
to
she would have
bring
left
him
him come
back
back.
into the house. My opinion is that she's been there all day.
That's very possible.
The
That's
only
something I hadn't
funny thing
considered.
to me is in the first sequence, she had this tight, like, braid hair.
Oh no,
And
she
then,
had to have left at some point because she met up with Maddie to go over the plan.
oh, you're right. And then she went right back? You're right. You're 100% right. I bow
So
down to
that's
you.
yeah, that's what yeah, that would indicate that she did leave at least at some
Oh,
point
what
for a
hair did
little
she
while.
have with Maddie?
Because that's what triggered it. Is I remember in that scene she was brushing her hair,
Oh, is that
and her
what it
hair looked
is?
like shit in that scene with Maddie,
Okay,
and
that
I'm not sure
okay.
what it was.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, I kind of like just I was watching that scene, but it was just I was writing notes and I
Yeah,
was just
it
like
was expository, and it
because
wasn't important, and it was brief.
like the initial scene in Harold, she has this like tight braid, and then in the next scene in Harold, she's wearing the same thing, but she's got this bouffant hair, like perfectly.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you're right. With Maddie, she's talking and she's
And she's brushing it up. Yeah.
man, that's some
So yeah,
okay.
there was some in between.
I gotta delete this comment because it makes no sense now.
Remove that. But anyway, she gives him a real story, and yeah, it's a real story, all right. It's a rather lurid tale about Laura and her traveling to the roadhouse as very young teenagers. She said 13 or 14,
Hmm.
and hooking up with much older boys, eventually going skinny dipping in a lake.
Can I
Oof.
interject here?
Yeah.
This is an interesting thing. So I don't. So just give me a moment here.
Hmm.
I think so. You can. This is an interesting scene because she's very chill and collect. She's being very methodical.
Hmm.
She's smoking a cigarette to relax her, and she's talking. She's very chill. But I don't know. When you watch this scene, is very interesting because it's a close up on her. You can see her heart rate, and it is out of control.
Hmm.
It is out of control, and so I don't know if it's because she's so nervous in this scene, doing this scene, or if like how is she? It's just a very interesting to watch. This is very I don't know. This is it has nothing to do with anything. It's just something I really noticed, and you can just see her neck and in her vein. It's just like it's pumping.
Rapid fire.
So I don't
Maybe
know
they're on like take 10 and she's had to smoke 4 cigarettes right in a row.
exactly. I don't know if it's just interesting, but
Nicotine poisoning?
it's not something you notice with a lot of actors. A lot of times, though, like in certain scenes, you don't really notice the heart rate,
No.
and it's just
But
a
it's
very
it's fitting.
interesting.
It
It's just
definitely adds to the scene.
so I recommend going back and watching it and seeing if like is it because she's nervous and she's trying to like subjugate it with nicotine, or is she nervous because she is actually nervous acting, or it could be so many things. It's just a very
Yeah.
interesting thing to
Or if
look
the
at.
story she's telling excites her a little bit or
Exactly. Or exactly.
yeah.
It's just a lot of it. I have no really real comment on it as a whole, but it's just something you don't really notice in actors when you watch them act. You don't see like a vein just like fucking pumping blood that you would know that like especially in the scene where she's acting so cool.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So,
It is interesting. I thought this was a really good reading of this scene. I
oh, I
thought
thought
Lara Flynn Boyle did
no,
tremendous.
I think she's great there. It's just
Questionable content of the story aside, she did
sure.
a really, really good job in this
I
scene.
think she's been doing pretty good. I mean, I just question what her character is, what it's supposed to
Yeah.
be.
She's doing great with the material she's been given, but
Right.
yeah, the what direction is Donna supposed to be headed here? You
But
know, what is the end game for her?
I just find this read telling, and I'm curious if it's. I think what the read is like she's just really crazy nervous, and then she's playing cool because like as an actor, you're obviously always kind of on edge.
Right.
But
Like you get the feeling she would have been the same way in the jail with James.
right.
Like she's playing it cool, but her heart was
Mm.
probably pounding in her chest at the excitement of this sort of
I
performance or
was
something.
surprised,
But
especially with the lighting, just how well it read. Like you just see
mhm.
it so well. It's just like, well, that's surprising. They really decided to go with that angle or that lighting. I would have, if
Do you think they did that to emphasize it deliberately?
maybe, like she's nervous, but she's playing it cool. That's
Yeah,
what I hope. That's what because I would
yeah.
understand that.
Because if so, that adds a lot of gravity
But at
to
the
it for
same time,
sure.
it's like, is she just nervous? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's like a
maybe
lot.
it's just a happy accident.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of that in cinema.
Right. It's an interesting
Um,
thing that I noticed. Anyway.
I, I think it's a good thing to point out. Harold's response to the story is that it's beautiful, which is what a creep would say. Um, yeah, it definitely reads differently in this day and age, uh, but it's not implausible, you know.
No, I mean it wasn't. Nah, watching it, it's like sure. I mean, yeah, nah, whatever. I could.
Yeah,
Plus, especially if she's there trying to get something from him, I don't discount it in any way.
um, fun story. There's the supplemental material, The Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, that was written by Jennifer Lynch, David Lynch's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
This book published in the late 90s to accompany the series, but she does include this story from Laura's perspective as part of that novel.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother got that book when he was 13.
Bunch of
It had some,
nudes, bunch of
no nudes, but some pretty overtly sexual content. Had my parents known that it was part that it had gotten that graphic, they probably would not have bought it for him.
Oh, they
But
bought it.
anyway,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
it was a birthday gift, if I remember
Birthday
correctly.
gift, yeah, baby.
But I digress.
Digress.
Coop and Harry have made it to One-Eyed Jack's. I got to laugh at their outfits here. I mean, Coop is clearly dressed for a break-in, but Harry's dressed for, a
I
fishing trip
I
or
put
something.
I put holy shit, Harry is wearing something different. Cuz he's usually always wearing the same Ghostbusters suit
Right? Yeah.
anyway, he's like holy
He's
shit,
got
he's
his
wearing
civvies
something
on
different.
tonight. Coop seems spooked when he sees an owl, remembering the giant's warning. Harry takes out the doorman by.
Okay,
So it's got to be he twists his nards. That's the
okay.
only
Yeah.
thing I can figure out is what's going
This
on
is
here.
what I put. Truman punches a cock and then grabs a cock. I don't. It's like
I
what?
think he's squeezing.
I
I
think he
think he's got
punches
the
and then
iron claw.
grabs.
I think he's got the iron claw on the dude's nards, and then he stuffs the rubber ball in his mouth and knocks him out by ramming his head into the door.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like what a random,
It just.
poorly
Did he learn
planned.
that one in police training or what?
No, that's a poor direction on the production end.
Yeah, never seen that.
Because we do the stomach punch again later on
But
at the end of the
I mean,
scene, and it's
no, you can
properly
clearly
framed.
see
It's
the, yeah,
properly
you can
framed.
see the
Yeah,
guard's stomach
that's
in
what I'm
that
saying. It's
shot. That was
properly
not a
framed.
stomach shot.
Yeah,
He was
no,
definitely going
this
below
is
the
like,
belt.
what is he punching?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I twigged that the first several watches, but
No, I caught that
it
right
stuck
away. It
out
was
this
like,
time.
dude, Truman just fucking. Anyway,
They make their way inside and they try to blend in with the clientele despite not really being dressed for the location.
no.
Wandering the halls, they eventually find their way to the door to Blackie's office.
Hold on a second.
Harry,
Hold on a second.
yeah. Oh, are you going to
So
talk about the worst fake sick sounds ever?
no, not that. That's fine. There's a moment where they're
It was
walking
awful.
together, and then, like, yeah. I mean, obviously, Coop goes. He's like, listen. He's like, no, and then he's like, he kind of goes, wait here, and Coop goes off, and he goes, and then he goes off one direction, and then it switches shots, and he comes back. He goes, nah, dead end. It's just like, what the fuck was the point of that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then they're still going through these hallways, and they're giving themselves these weak ass hand signals. And it's
Right. Yeah.
like, what are you guys doing? I don't know. I
Which
thought it
is
was
yeah.
hilarious. Like, this is so
Yeah.
fucking
It's
silly.
like their only plan was to get inside, and once they were inside, they were like, let's just wing it.
It was pretty funny.
Um, but yeah, Harry camps out by the door and sends Coop to continue on without him as he observes Jean and Blackie preparing a lethal dose of heroin for Audrey while verbally sparring over their past history. Meanwhile, Harold is suggestively showing off his orchids to Donna. Things get intense and they share a passionate kiss before Harold abruptly excuses himself to a back room. This is just the opportunity Donna has been waiting for as she blinks her flashlight to signal Maddie to come on in and steal.
Comment.
Yeah,
Harold is a
what about
pedo.
him?
Harold is a pedo. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on from Harold the Creep. Cooper has
Oof.
run into Nancy, offers a handshake, but turns it into an armbar, and quickly convinces her to lead him to Audrey. She's tied to a bed and checked out on a serious nod. Nancy protests innocence, but Cooper doesn't buy her bullshit. And when she sneaks up behind him with a knife, he quickly disarms her and takes her out with a punch to the gut.
A
Then frees
proper punch
Audrey
to
and
the gut,
pays her
not to the
off.
cock or the
Nope.
cooch. Just a proper punch to the gut. No
Yeah.
grabbing or anything. Like, this is like, this is how you know
Yeah.
Truman was like, he's into other things.
Yeah. Cooper knows what he's doing.
Well, he's a professional cop.
And yeah, just no patience for Nancy at all. Like, that's the meanest I'd ever heard him speak to a character in this show.
I mean, you know what? As I was watching this, as like, oh, she's gonna pull out the knife. He's gonna see it in the reflection. He's gonna grab the knife,
Oh,
cut
yeah.
the
I
thing.
mean,
Like, it's all being telegraphed in my head. It's like, I already know how this is gonna play out. There's no
yeah.
there's no threat to Coop here at all.
Oh, yeah, there never was.
What I thought was
It's just
kind of
fun watching
funny.
him. It's just fun watching him work,
What I
you know?
thought was kind of funny was that he threw Audrey over his shoulder as opposed to a cradle carry. I would have thought that he cares about her. He would have cradle carried her. Throwing her over his shoulder, while maybe more efficient, seemed like more of a kind of dismissive carry.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, like she's luggage
right. It's
and
kind
not
of
a
funny.
friend.
But
It was kind of funny, yeah, but I agree with you. It's an efficiency thing right now. They just need to get the hell out, and he needs at least one hand free while they do it.
right.
We're back over Harry's shoulder as he watching Jean and Blackie seal their deal with a kiss when suddenly, snicked, Jean trips his switchblade and ends Blackie with a knife to the lung. While he's sucking her blood, he spots Truman peeping through the window and fires a couple of shots at him before disappearing,
Truman's a
presumably through a
peeper.
back door. Yeah, Truman didn't hide himself real well there, did he?
Not so well.
Anyway, Cooper and Truman meet up and make their way to the exit, but they're confronted by one last armed doorman who's got them dead to rights. The look on Cooper's face in that shot, like, I don't know if that's. I mean, he's not gape mouthed like that. He is wide eyed, but I mean, that's a look you don't see on his face. He's
I
scared.
have no way out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they had the hawk.
Thankfully, yeah, the cavalry arrives
Throws his Indian knife in his back.
right into his back. Act of murder across state lines. No big whoop.
No big deal. He's in his Indian attire, so
Yep,
Native
he's in
American.
his civvies too.
That's just a Native American write-off right there, Gabe. Just like, okay, yeah,
That's buddy cop shit, you know?
yeah.
This is something straight out of Lethal Weapon, especially the punchline.
Native Americans get
You
like,
can't keep a secret.
Gabe, I don't know if you know this, but Native Americans get like 3 white men kills a year. They're like, allowed just to kill 3 white men.
Oh, is that
just,
part of the reparations package?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
From the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Yes, that's fair.
yeah.
There's a contract.
I mean,
I
he
don't think
fucking
the
threw
Norman
it,
was
and then he's like,
white.
and then he gets down there and like, he's like all wearing his Indian
Norman
shit.
was African American.
What?
Norman that he killed was African American. I could be wrong.
Well, but okay.
But that's not a white man. That's what I'm saying.
So we're
Anyway,
gonna have to take it to the court. We're
anyway,
gonna have to
yeah,
have
I'm
judges.
literalizing and I'm ruining your joke. I
Mm,
know. I know.
we're
Humor
pitting two
ruined.
races against each other that should not be fighting each other.
Right?
That's
Yeah, they need to
way to
team
go,
up and take
Gabe.
us out.
Way to go.
Outside, Hank is observing the trio escape with Audrey as he fills Ben Horn in on a prehistoric cell phone. Suddenly, Jean sticks him up from behind and searches his pockets for ID, finding not Hank's, but D.A. Lodwick's instead. Wonder
Oh,
where this
bum
confusion is
bum.
going to lead.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
Why is Hank still carrying that in his pocket? I mean, that seems dumb.
As a criminal, no, I think he carried it on purpose. That
To-
makes sense. So he can do his shit, and then he gets let off, and then it's
Oh, yeah, because there's no photo with it or anything. So,
right. So it's like a
should he run afoul of the law? He'd be like, "It's okay, boys. I'm the DA."
yeah. He's I mean he's a bookhouse boy, so he
Former
knows
Bookhouse
former, but
Boy.
he has the smarts of a bookhouse boy.
Bookhouse Boy gone bad.
Exactly.
Through the window of Harold's orchid room, Donna is trying to direct Maddie to the hidden compartment of the bookshelf. They are terrible thieves.
Awful.
Awful. Harold startles
Also, what
Donna
I
and
don't
she
understand about this
almost blows it.
Also, what I don't understand
So,
about this sequence is that they were just reading this. They were just reading this, so I feel like it was out. I don't see
right?
why it
Well,
would
they had.
be why it would be put
You might
away.
still be conflating with the earlier segment.
No, I still feel like it would still be out.
Because I mean, I think he probably would have put it away after Donna tried to steal it from him. And then, would have been like, I'm not bringing this out again until you actually tell me your story.
Okay, so here's what I would have done if I was Donna.
Hmm.
When as soon as he
Besides
left,
just running off as soon as he collapsed
sure.
and then having the diary.
As soon as he left the sequence where she signs with the light, don't go
Hmm.
for the light. Just go get the fucking thing,
Right?
drop it outside, close the
Right?
door.
Why bring Maddie into the house
Well,
at all?
yeah, just Maddie could just pick it up and run. Like
Yeah. They do
David
not know
Lynch,
about this
Mark
anymore.
Frost treating women like they're stupid vehicles. Anyway, classic
Anyway.
sexist bullshit. 90s era bullshit.
Yeah. Definitely some of that happening here. Harold startles Donna, and she almost. Well, let's keep in mind they're also teenagers. It's not like they're going to do anything extremely
They're
well at
so
this point.
sophisticated, though, Gabe. Way more sophisticated than these 30-year-old men wearing khakis, growing plants,
Right?
drinking
Harold startles Donna.
Chardonnay.
Drinking Chardonnay. Donna almost blows it, but she manages to keep her cool and keep Harold distracted until klutzy Maddie makes a lot of noise, finally opening up the bookshelf. After realizing what's going on, Harold promptly loses his shit and carves up his face with a hand rake while yelling a lot. Roll credits.
My final comment for this episode. This
What's that?
episode was better than last week. Directed more competently, but still, this episode was no gleaming the cube. Roll credits.
So what is really? What is?
That's just
So
a
it's
that's a
off
joke
to our
because the
IMDb
director
trivia
of
page?
this episode
Yeah.
would go on to direct Gleaming the Cube. Anyway,
I believe he directed Gleaming the Cube first,
exactly.
if I'm not mistaken.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It probably did because that's like 85, 86. I don't know.
I'm bringing up the page right now. Graham Clifford is the director's name.
Yes.
He was behind the camera this week. I think this one might be his only episode. Let's take a look.
This is a competent episode, Graham. You did a good job. Proud of you, bro.
Yes, Gleaming the Cube came first. Gleaming the Cube was released in 89.
89. Holy shit. I didn't realize it was that late. Tony Hawk's in that movie. Is Tony Hawk in Twin Peaks?
I doubt it.
That's too bad.
But hey, let's keep watching and find out. His only other directorial film at that point was a documentary about Francis Farmer starring Jessica Lange.
Got an
Interesting stuff.
Academy Award nomination.
For her, yes. Yes, this is his only episode of Twin Peaks, unfortunately. I did look for credits after 2007, did not see much, so I'm wondering if he's just retired and living the sweet life in whatever giant house all of his directing credits brought
I
him.
mean, Gleaming the Cube must have been so much money.
Oh, right.
So
Imagine the
much.
residuals. Imagine the residuals.
Listen, I get that
Was
that
that was
that is
Christian
a that
Slater in that?
yes, Christian
Was that a
Slater,
Christian Slater
yes,
one?
100%.
Okay.
Uh, I've seen that more times than I should really say, but it's a solid movie about skateboarding.
That one I've never seen.
You've never seen Gleaming the Cube?
Never saw Gleaming the
Oh, you should
Cube.
check it out.
Never saw Pump Up the Volume. I don't know.
Oh,
I
pump up the
wasn't big on
volume. Fuck
Christian
that.
Slater.
But Gleaming the Cube is like it's a skater dude. He has a Asian stepbrother, and his Asian stepbrother gets involved with something and gets killed, murdered. And
Holy shit.
his brother's like, no, what? He doesn't. Christian Slater's like he doesn't believe what they say what happened, and he's out to prove them wrong.
Oh,
And he
okay.
uses the power of
Through the magic of
skateboarding
skateboarding.
to
Awesome.
fucking prove them wrong. You know.
How many
And
times does he use the word radical in the movie?
I don't remember. It's been a
It's
hot.
gotta come out.
Gabe, if I'm honest, it's been a hot minute since I watched this movie because, like, I'm not a kid.
What?
It's been. I mean, I used to watch it all the time when I was younger, but I haven't seen it in a hot minute. But I would watch it. I would 100% watch it. All these movies, all these adjacent movies we have to watch because of Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
because of Gabe. I guess Twin
Six
Peaks.
degrees, man.
I guess Gleaming the Cube is going on the list. We got to watch it.
On the list.
Has nothing to do with Twin Peaks.
Not at all.
Except
He also served as the editor for the 81 version of The Postman Always Rings Twice, which also starred Jessica Lange and Jack Nicholson. Also worked as an editor on The Man Who Fell to Earth and the music editor for the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Dude gets around, or got around.
I get
Don't know what he's up
around,
to today.
round, I get around.
The credited writer for this episode was Barry Pullman, who is mostly known for Roswell, another show I never watched.
My wife watched all of that.
Did she?
Also, Roswell, isn't that the one where what's her name comes out of? There's a blonde woman in 40-Year-Old Virgin. What is that?
Elizabeth Banks?
No, the other one.
The other one.
Okay, maybe it's not 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's
Oh, Katherine Heigl.
yeah,
Knocked
Heigl.
Up.
I think she comes out of Roswell.
Yeah, she was in it. So yeah, he was a producer on Roswell and New Amsterdam. I don't know New Amsterdam. A lot of stuff I've never heard of.
But they've all worked.
Before
They
Twin
all have had
Peaks-
work.
Yeah, I guess. Just, I mean, whether I recognize it or not doesn't matter. We will see a lot of Barry this season, though. This is his first of 4 episodes that he has writer's credits for.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't much overall trivia for this particular episode. There was something that pointed out that the scene in Ed and Nadine's house, one of the little ceramic dolls on Nadine's shelf, also sports an eye patch.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, pretty amusing. I don't know if that's true in the other episodes that you see in that house or not. Van Dyke Parks, who plays Leo's lawyer, the one who demonstrated the brain scans,
Right.
was actually a composer.
Huh.
He worked with Robert Altman on Popeye,
Oh.
and also scored some children's movies such as The Brave Little Toaster and Sesame Street, Follow That Bird.
That's funny. Popeye is something I used to watch all the time as a kid, and then I haven't seen it in so many years.
God, yeah, I think I was maybe 6 years old the last time I saw Popeye.
Oh, I saw it way young, but yeah, it's a good. I mean, I always thought it was like, oh, yeah, that's Popeye.
Looked like him to me.
As a young person who had seen Popeye cartoons, and then in my olderish years seeing that movie, it's like, yeah, that's Popeye.
Yeah.
I don't understand why
And
that
of
movie
course,
got so
Shelley
shit.
Duvall was perfectly cast.
Oh, both. I mean, all of them. It seemed all fine. I don't understand why that movie got so shit on. Is it a bad? Is
Yeah.
it? When's the last time you saw that movie?
And I was probably 6 years old.
I.
So yeah,
It's all.
gonna
It's an
add that to the list
Altman.
after
It's
reading the cues,
Altman
huh?
doing Popeye. I have to go back and rewatch that. I have to really go back and rewatch that and really take it in because, like, as a kid, even up to like 12 years old, I remember watching it. It's like, this is pretty good.
Was it just that it didn't make its money back? Was it just the production costs ballooned out of control or something?
Maybe I have no idea. I just always remember liking that movie. I have to go. I have to go back and rewatch it, Gabe. That's a movie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabe, for opening this Pandora's box for me to like.
There's all kinds of stuff you're gonna have to chase down now, isn't
Do I
there?
want to watch Dune 2? Nah. Do I want to watch Ferrari? Nah. Do I want to watch all these more other movies? Nah. I want to go back and rewatch Popeye.
Hmm.
Let's do it.
Papa it is. All right, season 2, episode 5 aired on October 27th, 1990. 11.4 million people were watching. That's a 7.4% household rating, the lowest one yet for the series.
But so fucking many people, really.
It is.
What a
It's an
different
awful lot of
time.
people.
What a different time we live in, right?
Yeah, when we have more than 3 options for prime time viewing. I mean, think about how rare cable TV was for most people at this point in time. You know,
Well, it's
I
like
knew a few people with HBO, but they were rich as hell.
it's like music
I remember,
nowadays. Like it's like unless you're a meteoric star, most music nowadays, you can get a gold record off of like nothing. It's like it's wild. Anyway,
yeah, yeah, it's a different marketplace for this sort of thing nowadays. And those demographics or those metrics just don't mean the same thing that they used to.
they would kill for that right now.
Yeah, yeah, a 7.4 would get you 3 seasons. Um, so I mean, it was still 75th for the week, top 100. So I mean, that's enough to keep it around for a while, I guess. But
Well, it got it through its season
yeah, mostly.
mostly.
Let's see if there's any other interesting material to look at here. This all just looks like plot and summary stuff. More plot, blah. Also starring. Oh, yeah, the one thing that everybody notices, I think, is that very last scene, Harold with the rake. Like, it's pretty obvious that there is already red
Stuff
paint
on it.
on the
Yeah. I
tines
knew
of the
that.
rake, and he just kind of, like, one of them even drips a little bit onto his face
If
before.
if they knew who the murderer was or whatever he says, something very like open ended about
Yeah.
like, oh,
Knowing
are
who
you saying
killed
you
me.
killed her? Basically, it's just like, are they setting him up to be the murderer, and is that the guy who they end up with? Because if this is,
Do you want me to give it away here and now?
I mean, you're
Or do
gonna
you
say
just want to wait
yeah.
and find it out with
I'm gonna say
the
yes. You're
audience?
gonna say yes, and then I'll be like, okay, whatever.
So, do you want me to tell you if Harold is the killer or not?
No, but I
Okay.
already know he is.
You already know he is.
Right. That's who
Well,
they.
aren't you the clever
That's how
one?
they. That's how they. That's how they. That's how they. Wait. Okay. Okay. Hold on a second. I will ask you this, Gabe.
Hmm.
Is the killer someone we've already met and seen, or is it someone random that we just have never heard of before?
The killer is someone we already know.
All right, then it's fucking. All right, it's fucking bullshit, man.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's fine.
it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, our season is coming to an end. We gotta like. Wait, okay.
We're
Here's
not
another
even
thing.
close to coming to an end of the
You're
season.
right, but do they announce who the killer is before the end of the season?
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
were forced to.
so then where does the story go? What is even the conflict after that?
I will point out that they don't catch the killer in the same episode that the killer is revealed in.
But what does that fucking matter? Okay, fine. Okay. All right.
Um, yeah, I mean, now you're starting to see Lynch's predicament.
All right.
You know,
All right.
where do they go from here when Laura's murder is solved?
All right.
Laura's murder is that goose that's laying the golden eggs. When you kill the goose, what's shitting out the golden eggs now?
Wink twice if I'm wrong.
About what?
Any of it.
I mean, there's all kinds of shit you've been wrong about, but
But I'm right about this one,
about what?
it doesn't matter.
About who the killer is?
About Audrey being hot.
You're not wrong about that.
I just
You are
want to.
also not wrong
I
about
just want to
Shelley
be.
looking fine as hell in this week's episode.
I just want to be. Anyway, no. You know what? You know what's funny?
What's that?
So, like last week's episode was like a low. Like I was just like, oh, I don't know if are the of all the episodes are gonna just start being like this corny. I don't know if I could do it. I would still do
I've
it.
been warning you since the
I would
beginning.
still do it. I would still do it. I'm not gonna not do it, but it's just like there might be points where I just like check out. Less
No,
notes,
it's
less notes. But this episode was a vast improvement over last week's episode. Like this episode was like really competently put. I just want to make sure that if anyone listens to our podcast is in or is part of the production or anything, I just felt like this episode was really competently put together. I felt it was better acted. It wasn't corny. I mean, it is of what the show is. It still has that
right.
intrinsic
Got that same DNA.
DNA, but
Yeah.
it wasn't just fucking garbage like that last episode. Like the last episode was like so tough for me to get through. So
Yeah.
tough. And this one was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, cool. Okay, I get that. Okay, that's fun. Aha, that's funny. All right. Done. So it's like
Yeah, it's
it,
it's funny how little that I pay attention to like the stylistic differences between the directors,
oh, it's so different, Gabe.
on first
It's
viewings, but
wild.
watching it with your comments,
It's
like it's
wild.
it's really I've started to focus on a lot more of that sort of thing and like to see like how is the direction of this different than like last week's episode. One thing I want to point out before I forget it is in the last scene, we get that use of Dutch angles again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty clear indication that we didn't see a lot of Lynch in the production area for this episode because we all know how much he hates the Dutch angle. So if old Graham were able to get away with that for this one, then he must have been on the press tour for Wild at Heart while they were shooting on this one.
I think it's brave, but I just feel like that's just an artistic choice. It's like there's people that shoot Dutch angles all the time.
Well, yeah, like Gilliam. Gilliam's a big
Gilliam, but
fan
there's
of
some
him.
other artists. There's some other people that just like use it like through the entire film. To
Well, and I
use
get
it
like
to use it one time, I don't feel like that's. I mean,
yeah, particularly in that scene where you're seeking to like create that feeling of disorientation in your audience.
just orientation,
Yeah,
but also sometimes just like
when it's used
you're trying to
sparingly.
fit it. You're trying to fit something into a frame. It's like, well, let's try this. I don't know. I have nothing against the Dutch angle.
Mhm.
I would not shoot a film with nothing. Like if you look Battlefield Earth or something where it's just shot this way back and forth, it's like
Yeah,
that's awful. Like you're gonna
right.
throw up or something. But
Yeah,
I think a good Dutch angle is not a bad thing. I have nothing
yeah,
against it.
yeah. When it's used right, it can definitely enhance the mood of a scene.
So Graham, I'm
100%.
uh I mean, he also shot one of my favorite '80s films, Gleam in the Cube. So
Right? Hats off to you, buddy. Thanks for the memories.
probably better than any David Lynch film, really. Ultimately, Christian Slater. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I mean,
Right. Imagine Christian Slater as Agent Cooper.
this
Huh?
is Christian Slater adjacent. So Brandon and I tried to watch a movie the other night, a couple of nights ago, called Freelance with John Cena and Christian Slater. We got like half an hour
John
in.
Cena and Christian Slater.
Yeah, we got half an hour in, and we're like, no, I don't think we can watch this.
Not doing it, huh?
It's just like It's called Freelance. It was just bad. It's just awful. It's just like, can we just get to the actual story that you're supposed to be telling? It's just so much
You didn't
exposition.
even, like, fast forward looking for cool action scenes or
No,
anything
we
like
never
that?
got to that point. We were just like, nah, we're just done. It's like a half an hour of just like, how much more time do you need to set up this story? It was pretty bad. Anyway. So, yeah.
Sounds rough.
It needed more Dutch angles.
Yeah, then you would have been disoriented and entertained.
Mm-hmm. All right, what else? We have any other things that we need to confront?
That's all I've got for this week
No.
specifically.
All right. I'm happy with this episode. Like, I liked it well enough.
Yeah, I agree. This one felt solid in a way that last week's didn't.
Well produced.
Um,
Comedy was on
along.
point in the areas that it needed to be on point, and then just classic kind of Twin Peaks bullshit going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one is a pretty good representation of the overall series. And it's one that I remember quite a bit from my childhood.
It's downhill from here? Like, at what point does we just go downhill?
Pretty much after they reveal the killer.
And how many more episodes do we have until that happens?
Are you sure you want me to tell you?
Yes. Just tell me how many more episodes.
2.
2, okay. And then it's just like Matterhorn, just like...
No, I mean, it plateaus a little bit up until the overall resolution of Laura's murder. And then it nosedives.
Okay. This is not having anything... What becomes the actual story interest after the murder is revealed? Like, just trying to find him? Is like that's the story conceit?
Yeah, they're still working on that.
But there's no like main story drive. It's just it becomes Seinfeld. Like it's a show about nothing. Like what the fuck?
I mean, it doesn't take long before the killer is confronted. So there's not a lot of time between the reveal and the resolution. But it's explained in a way that makes sense.
So we get the one-armed man again.
We do get the one-armed man again, yes.
Because, like, I know he's, like, someone that they want to confront, so we must get him before it all goes south.
Yep, he's going to be necessary to that whole thing.
All right, cool. Twin Peaks. What a show. What a groundbreaking piece of show.
Piece of show.
I have nothing else. This has been a good episode, Gabe.
It has been. I'm surprised we wrapped up this early. I thought
we're not early. We're an hour and a half plus at this point, dude.
Feels early for me.
I guess so. Sometimes we go for 2 hours, but I think if you look at our
I
average,
that as much that went down in this episode as it did, I figured we would marathon it just because there was so much action involved.
Maybe I just felt pretty. I've started only writing notes with shit that's like either A, really stands out or really fucking pisses me off. Where shit where like I'm okay with, I just like, nah, I don't need to talk about that. Gabe will talk about it and then I'll just, I'm cool with it. If I'm cool with it, I'm cool with it. I'm going to point out shit that is like either A filmmaker thing or B, just fucking contrived, just stupid, It's like, That's kind of where I'm at this point. But I will say that I felt this show was just way more masterfully put together than the last one.
This episode in particular.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think it has a lot to do with like the fact that there was like a singular writer, and then I think the director had more. Because of a singular writer, I think the show had a better voice, and then the director was either was better to just like execute on that. Whereas the previous show had so many writers on it, and I imagine they were all just like had no idea what was going on. It was a mess.
And it didn't feel like anything got resolved last week. Last week was just a lot of moving parts continuing to move. But this week we got some stuff wrapping up, like we got Audrey rescued and.
But even this had moving parts. We still have moving parts.
It still does. But we also got, some bows on some stuff here.
Yeah, Coop rescues Audrey, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we got some stuff. Yeah, for sure. But now we also have other things where like Harold's gonna have an orgy with Maddie and Donna,
I mean, they don't really seem like they'd be down for it, do they?
Well, he has a claw and he's a pedo, so
he's got a claw and he's got orchids and he can't leave his house without crumbling to the ground.
Sickly, he's probably the same age as them. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, then why the hell isn't he in school?
Right? We can't go to school, Gabe.
And how does he afford Meals on Wheels, really?
I thought Meals on Wheels was only for old people. Anyway, or poor people.
Or shut-ins.
Is that what it's for, shut-ins? I didn't know it was for shut-ins.
For people who, I don't know. I've never understood it myself.
Do you get Meals on Wheels, Gabe?
I get Grubhub. Is that the same thing?
Kind of.
Kind of. Except it's not staffed by people who have to do community service.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Why don't we run that email up at the top?
Let's pump it up.
Pump it up. Maybe one of these days I'll check it and see if people actually write us.
Yeah, when was the last time you checked it?
Been a while. I'll have to take a look.
Blank as a fart pod at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. As usual, you can also find us on the Instagrams at blank as a fart, on the Facebook at blank as a fart, on the threads at blank as a fart. Fuck Twitter, fuck X, whatever you want to call it. Fuck Elon. Fuck that guy.
Fuck him.
So, wrapping it up from my end. This is Gabe signing off. That's Ian hiding behind his microphone.
That is me.
That is you.
That is me.
Remember, folks, there's things you can't get in books. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
We will see you next week. And I love you, Gabe.
I love you too, Ian.
I've enjoyed you holding my hand. Your Twin Peaks.
Squeeze tight. We're getting into some choppy waters.